Just before I came in here, there were several journalists who came in to meet me, and inevitably everybody said, is there a reason to celebrate Women's Day? I find that a really strange question because, have we reached a point when we need to uncelebrate it? What does it actually mean? Why do we celebrate any day at all? When we say every day should be a Women's Day, what does it actually mean? Why do we celebrate a particular day? In this case, International Women's Day, we celebrate because it's a symbol of remembering the struggles that went ahead, that resulted in the women's movement taking action and clearing the path for us so that together today as women, we are able to demand and ask for equality and equal rights. So it is a symbolic gesture, and it is a way of recognizing those who have made it possible for us to walk to the place that we have, and that's why I think it's very important. Another question that everybody asks me, and I find that again very strange, is, well, I don't want to be called a feminist. I don't understand what that means. I don't want to be called a feminist. What, in your view, is a feminist? Or who is a feminist? Why do you reject the idea and are apologetic about being a feminist? I don't understand that. I'm a very, very proud feminist. I'm a woman, and I ask for equality of opportunity, and that to me makes me a feminist. There are shades and shades of feminism, and there has been a deliberate conspiracy against the notion of feminism so that it's come to mean, a belligerent, bra-burning kind of person who hates women. That's not the truth at all. We have to recognize that when the women's movement first started, we were suffering from decades of being pushed into systemic suppressions where we weren't allowed to express ourselves. And so obviously in the first phase, when there is a shift in the status quo, there is going to be some belligerence. But today there are shades and shades of feminism, and all it basically says is that we want equal opportunity. Who can have a grudge with that? So please, before you rush in and you say, oh, I'm not a feminist, just think about what it actually means and why you are apologetic about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe India is a country that lives in several centuries simultaneously. We have people living back to back in the 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st century, and India's people at any given time and place encapsulate all the contradictions from being a multi-religious, multilingual, multi-caste society, and so it is with the position of women. So on the one hand, we've had this fantastic track record, where we've had a woman prime minister, we've had a woman president, we've had a woman Lok Sabha speaker, and so many women in very important positions. But that doesn't take away from the fact that even today, as you and I speak, girls are being killed in India for sheer crime of being born female. Female feticide is being practiced actively in this country, not in the back of beyond as we would imagine, but in cities like Mumbai and Delhi, in Haryana, in Punjab, in Mehsana. There is a district where brides have disappeared. And so one girl is ending up marrying 4 brothers because there are no girls left. These are newspaper reports of today. So this is our reality, and surely we have to grapple with it, because it's a given now that if 50% of society doesn't rise up to the level of their potential because of systemic ways in which that community has been pressurized, we cannot be a healthy society. So what we need is equality of opportunity, and that can only come when we start valuing girls for who they are. In a country where a boy is privileged over a girl from birth, in a patriarchal society like ours, this is a huge, huge task. And it starts from a process of socialization. We have lots of laws. We've got lots of very good policies in place, but in real life, what we are dealing with is a mindset which is completely controlled by patriarchal values. And let's remember that men are as much victims of patriarchy as women are. Because right from childhood, we are told this is how a man is supposed to behave, and this is how a woman is to behave. And I say to you that it is very important to blur these differences and let people be also male and also female, where the yin and the yang are really well balanced, because in that you produce a person at peace. I grew up in a family where gender justice was given, where my mother was also a working mother, and when she used to go into her theatre tours, it was commonplace for my brother and me to be dressed up by my father and taken to school. And so there was a reversal of roles which created absolutely no problems. And I think today, if we look at how we need to revisit the notions of masculinity, why is it that masculine only means powerful, it only means about wielding power, it means about six-pack abs? Why isn't it also about gentleness, about compassion, about justice, about equality? Why? Why is it that only the physical and the brute force is respected in a man? A man should never cry. Why not? Why should a man not cry? Why is a woman supposed to be this? Why are we in a society where very happily society wants to put us on a pedestal and be called a Devi? But we don't want to be Devis, we only want to be treated equals. It's much more important. That is difficult. When you deify somebody and you put her on a pedestal, that you really don't have to give her any equality. क्योंकि वो तो देवी है. नहीं चाहिए, हमको देवी नहीं बनना, हमको बराबर का बनना है, हमको बराबर का मौका दीजिए. That's the simple thing that we ask for. And what are the steps that we can do this? Obviously education, but do we pay enough attention to what kind of education? Very often education merely reinforces gender stereotypes. That's even worse than having no education at all. Quite often education can create communal discord. Do we need that kind of education? So the quality of education that we need to pay more attention to that. We're also told that women are women's worst enemies. अब मुझे जितनी तकलीफ इस एक सेंटेंस से होती है उतनी किसी से भी नहीं होती है. कहाँ ये तय पाया है? कहाँ हुआ है सर्वे? Who has done this survey? What are the statistics that you can give me? What was the sample number of the people from whom we reached this conclusion? It's a lazy way of thinking. Somebody said it, but everybody picks it up and says कि हाँ वो सास ने अपनी बहू को बुरी तरह से ट्रीट किया, सब औरतें ऐसी होती हैं. What are you doing about the millions of women that have come together in sisterhood, held each other's hands and said, we are in this together. I might be in a more privileged position than you, but I understand your pain and I walk with you. What about that? Where are the statistics? The bane of our society is that we have much more opinion than we have information. First, let's arm ourselves with information. बहुत छोटी सी मांग है. Before we run to a conclusion, let's say, all right, let's think about what this actually means. The fact is that I think successful women, the role that they have to play is to become agents of change and to mentor younger women, to create networks of sisterhood, so that you can see that when a woman is struggling in the same profession that you are there, you hold her hand and you say, I'm here with the benefit of my experience. That we can do. How can women become agents of change? First, by recognizing that men and women are different. I'm not saying better. I'm not saying worse. I'm saying different. And this difference needs to be included in the global dialogue that is taking place, whether it's about politics, whether it's about environment, whether it's about the arts. For far too long, Solutions to all problems have been sought to be resolved from the male point of view. Women are saying we constitute half the world and we want to be included in the global dialogue that is taking place because we are different from men. In that difference, the way we operate, whether we are in the corporate world, whether we are in the movies, whether we are in politics, why is there a demand of me that I should behave like the man? I don't want to behave like the man, because then society will not change in any way. If those who get empowered mimic the way those in power are behaving, how will society change? I hope that when women get empowered, they transform the very notion of power itself so that it becomes about a sharing of power. It doesn't become about the powerful wielding power over the weak. Only then there will be a change in society. Also, one thing that we must recognize is that there is no automatic transmission of feminist thought. You have to be informed by it, particularly in a patriarchal society. I remember in the wake of the gang rape that happened in Delhi a couple of years ago, there was a huge outcry saying that we need to have women manning police stations, and that will make all the difference. Really? Okay. Let me give you an instance. There was a magazine called Manushi that was working with women's rights. And they said there was this woman in a slum who had been very badly beaten. She had a black eye and a broken arm. And these activists forced her to come into the police station and register a complaint against her husband. There was a woman officer sitting over there. Now, seeing the situation this woman was in, because she was burning her bridges completely. Obviously, after she registers a case against her husband, there's no way she's going to go back. And she's frightened. And the woman officer says, okay, so what did you do wrong? So she said, nothing. She said, is your husband mad? You didn't do anything wrong and he just beat you up. Is he crazy? Tell me what you did. 100% you must have done something that provoked him. And so she said, well, I forgot to pick the clothes from the clothesline and it rained and the clothes become wet. See, I told you it was your fault. This is the woman police officer saying this, which is why I am saying this tendency to blame the woman for her situation, to say कि उसमें ही कोई गड़बड़ है, उसी में कोई खराबी है. We have to pull ourselves out of that, and we have to see that all of us are under this cloud of patriarchy that makes it an unequal playing field.